Good evening, everyone. Hope I'm audible and everyone could see my screen here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, nice.
Yes, sir.
So, where are we, guys? What are we discussing? In the last class, we were looking into the HTML5 app cache concept. How do you make an application to be available even offline? That is what we looked into. On the top, we have seen what do you mean by app cache file. How do you create it? What are the 3 blocks that is available? How do you link an app cache file to a HTML using the manifest attribute? Those things we have seen. On the top, we have even seen the concept of web workers, right? So we discussed something about what actually the multi-threading concept means, how do you run multiple jobs, and how JavaScript is not supporting them, and how you achieve indirectly the concept of multi-threading that, using the web workers. That's what we have seen. And we created a simple example too, right? So any questions on the top, yesterday's discussion, anyone?
No, sir, but own dialog box you have remind you.
Oh, yes, right. We are still pending with the custom dialog box, right? Okay, let me show you then this. Okay, so it's again a simple HTML and CSS part it is. Let me show it to you. Say something called 7 a.m. So if at all you guys have to create a HTML, a dialog box. So actually there are predefined components which are available, which will allow you to create your own dialog. They will actually provide the predefined dialog box. But if it is good, like if you know your own way of creating a dialog, then on the top anyway, when I come to the bootstrap, I will even show you how to make use of an existing dialog box also. Okay. So I say custom dialog box. Okay, let us say I have a very simple div. Click to see the details from dialog. So I say input type equal to say something called as, and or else we can make use of HTML5, something called as some button. Okay, under that I say click. Open this guy in the browser. This is how a button gets created. Earlier, we used to specify that input type equal to text, etc. But from your HTML5, button is a predefined tag using which you can create buttons. You can even go with input type also. Okay. So this is the button. I give some events here on click equal to show dialog. Okay. And what is this dialog? Let me create a simple JavaScript. I create a script tag where so and so, like this. Okay, alert hello, or else I want to say, do you like to save S or no, something like this. Okay, come back here, reload the page. Now I click on this button. This is how I'm getting an alert. But you know what are the limitations with this alert button and all? Limitation of alert is like you don't have, you cannot do any other job when the alert pop-up is there. And on the top, you cannot add the theme changes to the alert. Like your web page is some green background, some different theming you have. But the alert box, you cannot control the CSS and etc. and all. So that is the reason you can create your own custom dialog box where it looks like a dialog. On the top, you have every other control to do any type of changes, the look and feel or the functionality, everything can be done on the particular dialog box. Okay. So how do we create this dialog box? What actually I do is, first of all, let us create a simple div guy. Okay. Class equal to dialog container. Okay. And let me create a separate CSS file, guys. Dialog styles.css. Okay. link styles.css. Okay, now under this, I'm going to specify dialog container, say some border, 1 pixel, solid, width of say some 260 pixel, height of 200 pixel. Okay, save this guy. Let us see how this guy is coming. Reload the page. This is how it is. I can still increase the width of this guy, say some 400. Okay, reload the page. This is how I have the dialog box. In general, you see the dialog box with a rounded corner edges. Okay, so we are about to see that, but let me add it. There is a CSS property, something called as border hyphen radius, which we are going to see in future sooner when we come to the CSS. Now I say something called as 10% or 10 pixel. So it will automatically add the rounded corners for all the corners here. See, 10 pixel of radius has been, sorry, the rounded corners have been added for this. Okay, let me increase 500 this guy and let me make this guy as 250 pixel. Okay, this is how I'm getting. First of all, I'm creating the UI for the dialog box, guys. Okay, don't bother that boss dialog box has to be shown on the center, etc. We'll do one by one. Okay, first of all, let's create the look and feel of it. Then we'll hide it and click off button, show it. We'll do all of those. Okay, and one more thing, what you have is for the dialog box. Okay, the width and height is super fine, but you need to have a header, right, with all the title and all. So for this guy, let me create another div. Say some class equal to dialog header. Okay, for this guy, I say some message like save or else custom save dialog. Okay, and what is this header? This header, I give some CSS property, say some background color of #CCC. Okay, and I say the padding of say some padding top and bottom. I need to have the 20 pixel, and left and right I need to have something called as 5 pixel. Okay, I say background is clear, right? Now if you come back and reload the page, this is how I have the borders. But here if you see, this background is also going out of the container, so I need to specify the border radius for this. Okay, now if you come back, reload the page, this is how I have. Okay, next, and one more thing, yeah, I need to say top right 10 pixel 0 and 0. Now if you reload the page, see here earlier there is a rounded corners on the right left and sorry left side bottom and the right bottom, you have the rounded corners. So now when I give 4 values, you know that first value is top, right, bottom, left and right. So only for those I have given, remaining all I just left out. Okay, and the next thing what you have is font weight bolder. I can put it here, font hyphen weight bolder, and instead of 20 I can make it as 15 pixel. Okay, reload the page, this is how I have. Okay, and another thing, under this dialog box I need to have the container now, the text container. Okay, dialog, I say class dialog text container. Under this I would like to say, do you like to save the file? Some message I'm adding, it's up to you, whatever you want to give. I'm just putting some of the message. And this dialog text container, let me put some CSS for this. Say some height is 100 pixel. Okay, padding of 30 pixel and 5 pixel. Okay, reload the page. This is how the message I'm getting. It's up to you, whatever the message you want to put. At the bottom, I need to have the footer, dialog footer. I say some class equal to dialog footer. These all are user defined classes, guys. Hope you know this. Okay, and I go for, I want to create a button, input type equal to say some button. value is equal to S, or else you can create another type, input type equal to button, value equal to cancel. Okay, come back and reload the page. This is how I have the buttons, but I would like to see the buttons at the complete right side. And one more thing, the padding of 20 pixel I'll give. Not the 20, I think 30 will be fine. Okay, and this dialog footer, I can say dialog footer text align right side. Now if you reload the page, this is how I have the buttons. Okay, and for this guy you can say some padding of 5 pixel, so that right side you get some spaces, right and left. Okay, and for the buttons you can actually change the look and feel. Let me close the remaining one. Close other tabs. I say dialog footer, under that whatever the input elements you have, where type equal to say some button, you can say some background color of blue highlight, something like this. Okay, reload the page. This is how I have S and cancel. Okay. Yeah, this is how I have just created a dialog box. And on the top, you can even put a close button. Close button is you can put an icon, and on click of that, it will be closed. Okay, someone is asking a question. So Shreyas asked this question, sir, can we also create the custom buttons, or can we modify the HTML buttons using the CSS? Yes, it is not creating custom buttons, Shreyas. I mean, in generally people will do, like you can even create a div tag. Div tag can be created with rounded borders. You give the background color. You can treat it that as a button. You can even create custom buttons, or else you can even change the CSS of the existing HTML buttons also. Yeah, it's up to you guys. I mean, you can choose whatever you wanted. Right now, I just changed this color, right? In the same way, you can add the borders, etc., and all. You can change the height, width, padding, etc. Any CSS properties, you can do this. Okay, now I created the dialog box. The first thing what I need to have is the dialog box has to be display none. And one more thing, guys, you can add some shadow effects to this. If you reload the page, the dialog box, you have something called as box hyphen shadow of 5 pixel, 5 pixel, 5 pixel, and hash ECC. Okay, anyway, we talk about this box shadow when I actually come to the CSS3. Now you see the box is having some shadow effect. Okay, fine. Now my expectation is on load of this guy. And one more thing, I need to make this guy to the center. What I need to do? Display, not the display, position as absolute. Okay. Now, if I make it as position absolute, I need to say top and left position, top and top property, say something called as 10%. Okay. Left, I say 30%. Save this guy, come back and reload the page. This is how I have the dialog box position. For top, you can go with some more. Bottom, I say 15%, reload. This is how it is. Okay, now the first thing is it should not be shown on load of the page, display none. Okay, come back here and reload the page. No, it's not been shown. Okay, when I have to show this guy, so whenever you're clicking on this method, now I can simply say document dot query selector hash so and so dot style dot display is equal to block. Okay, save this guy, reload this page. Now when I click on this guy, then what is this? I haven't removed that. Okay, let me remove this guy. Okay, and one more thing, this is dot, right? Not hash, dot dialog container. Now if you come back and reload, when I click on this guy, this is how the dialog box is coming. One more thing. Anytime you have the dialog box, you couldn't able to do the changes on the background stuff. You see here, even though the dialog box is there, still I can click on this, still I can click on this button, etc. How do I stop that guy? In that case, what we need to do is you need to put a mask at the background guy. At the background, you need to put some different color, whatever it is. You need to gray out so that user can't do any changes. Very simple stuff. What you have is for that guy, how do we achieve this? There is no predefined property. You can put the changes. I will create another div here. I will put some class equal to mask block. I want to put a mask on the top for complete container. Okay, so how do I keep that guy? Mask block. I say the background color, for example, I say something called as red color. Now, if you come back and reload the page, nothing coming. Why? So you haven't given any width and height, right? If you give some width and height, say some 200 pixel, height some 100 pixel. Now, if you save this, you get the red container. But the requirement what you have is this guy has to be from the left top corner, right bottom corner. For all the 4 directions, it has to be stretched to all the 4 corners so that it will occupy the complete page, isn't it? So that is the reason I say these guy as position absolute. Okay, left guy, how much I need to go on the left side? Say something called as 0 pixel. From the left side, you need to start at 0. For the right guy, you need to start at the 0. For the bottom, you need to go at the 0 pixel. For the left, right, top, you need to go with the 0 pixel. You know what is going to happen now? Reload the page. See, the complete red guy is occupying. You are stretching it. We are stretching it from all the 4 corners. So it is occupying the complete content. Fine. But you know one thing, whenever the mask guy is coming, you need to see the background guy. I mean, there should be some transparency here. So can you tell me what is the CSS property through which we can apply the transparency?
Opacity.
Exactly. Now I will put some opacity for this. Opacity say from 0.3. Now if you come back and reload the page, see that guy is there, but can you click on all of this? No. Why so? User is feeling that there is some background to this and some container, but actually what is happening? There is one layer on the top of this. That is the reason even though you click on this guy, nothing happens. Now what I will do here, display none, hide this mask block. When I have to show this mask block, when the dialog box is coming, along with the dialog box, I can show that mask block also. Yes. Now I'll say document dot query selector dot mask block dot style dot display is equal to say some block. Save this guy, come back and reload the page. See, when I'm clicking on this guy, I'm getting a dialog box. Along with this, I'm seeing this. But one thing what I see is why the dialog box. Okay, dialog box, I haven't added the background and all, right? So for the dialog box, let me put some background. Background color #FFF. Okay, reload the page. When I click on these guys, see the dialog box is coming. I can click on this dialog box, etc. Everything is happening. But at the background, I cannot do. See here, I'm trying to click on this guy. I'm trying to drag and all. Nothing is happening. Why so? There is a layer on the top of this. Now on click of cancel, what I need to do? I need to close the dialog box here. Where is this cancel guy? On click is equal to cancel or else close dialog. Okay. So take out this dialog. Let us define a method where so-and-so is equal to so-and-so. What I need to do, same properties. Both mask and this guy has to be hidden. Okay, save this guy, come back and reload the page. Click on this guy, dialog box is there. I say cancel, this is gone. Click on this guy, dialog box, cancel. Now on click off as something else need to be done. You can add the piece of code for it. Any questions on this, guys? clear everyone? How do we create our own custom part?
Clear, sir.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. So as I said you guys, for example, if I go with the bootstrap, okay, anyway, I talk about the bootstrap later, but just want to show you. I mean, nowadays, no one is going with, see here, if at all, I need to create a dialog box. We are writing some HTML piece of code. We are writing the corresponding CSS for that. And this is a very common part which is needed nowadays in the market. And whenever you go with the projects, you actually needed it. Okay, why the bootstrap is 3, man? Latest 5, right? Okay. Yeah, so I go with get started. I go with something called as dialog. See here. So he has created his own custom dialog, which is having some close button, some cancel, etc. and all. So if at all you have to create this type of thing, you can even do this. Now what he is doing, boss, you don't need to bother on how do I create this, all the animation effect, etc. and all. If at all you want to make use of this, you can simply take his HTML code, start making use of it. Okay. Anyway, I will talk about this later. How do we actually make use of the bootstrap, etc. and all. Okay, Shreyas is having a question. Can we create custom prompt box on using JavaScript from your alert? We get the box like that, our custom one. Yeah, you can do that, right, Shreyas? Same thing, very simple, guys. What he is saying is, boss, here we are saying that where A is equal to prompt of something called as enter a value. Now, we can give something called as where say something called as B is equal to my own prompt, enter a value. Like this we'll give. Take this message. Now we know how do we create a dialog box. Under the dialog box, can't I put a text box here? Now along here, can I put something called as input type equal to text? Save this guy, come back and reload the page. I click on this. I'm getting a text box. Whatever the value you give here, when the user is clicking on this, take that value and assign into the variable. Can we do this? Yes or no, Shreyas? Have you got it? Yes or no, guys? Okay, fine. So this is how actually we can do that. Okay. Next, the next part, what you have is, okay, and anytime when you want this dialog box, guys, so try to implement it. This is again a good interview question also. People will ask you, how do we create a custom dialog box now? Okay, now coming back to our actual HTML5 concepts. We already seen some of the concepts. The next concepts what we have is, we are talking about something called as canvas tag and SVG tags. That
Hello, sir. Can you see the chat box?
Sorry? May I know what is that, guys?
Shreyas, sir.
Okay. I have a question. Actually, I mean not like the display hidden and block, but actually like the JavaScript. Strayas, I'm not clear with your question. I mean, when you say that, I mean the display here. I mean, you don't want to go with the display hidden and block? Can you please elaborate your question, Shreyas? I mean, if possible, you can talk actually. Shreyas, you're there? I will ask after the class. Yeah, fine, Shreyas, no problem. Okay, currently net slow. It's okay, no problem. Okay, but what I say is, whatever the same look and feel you want like a prompt, that can be done. Only thing is, now whatever the dialog box we have created, this is having this look and feel. Instead of that, if you want to give a same type of prompt or box, on click of value, you want to read it and all, same indirectly we can achieve that functionality. Okay, so is everyone clear with this dialog box or any other questions?
Yeah.
No more questions, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now let's go back to this guy. the next topic, which is called as Canvas and SVG, which is a very simple part in HTML5 and CSS3. Sorry, in HTML5, nothing much logical here. You have some predefined methods and tags. Just need to know. First of all, why the reason we want to go with this Canvas tag and SVG tag? Using the Canvas and SVG tag, you could able to draw the graphical objects within the page. Okay, Canvas tag and SVG tags are mainly used to draw the graphical objects within the page. So how do you draw this graphical objects? I mean, graphical objects in the sense, for example, circle has to be done. You can do with your HTML. Rectangle box has to be done. You can do with your HTML. But if at all I have to draw a triangle, I need to draw a line the way I want it. I want to draw some pictures, a house I want to draw. So those things cannot be done, right? So that is where you have the Canvas and SVG. You can draw anything. Assume you have a paint. Now, when I say something called as paint, is it not like a pencil in your hand? You can draw anything. If at all you have your paint, you take out the pencil, you draw a box. Now I take this pencil. Now I want to draw a home here, something like this. What else? Okay. Okay, something like this I want to draw. If at all I want to draw these type of things, not possible using your HTML and CSS. So for this, we need to go for the HTML5 Canvas and SVG tag. Okay, the two predefined tags. Now, what actually they are mainly used for? Used to draw the graphical objects. First of all, we'll see the Canvas tag, and later we go with SVG. The difference is Canvas is giving some predefined JavaScript methods. There are some predefined JavaScript methods. I have already noted some of them. So these are some of the predefined JavaScript methods using which you simply invoke them. Automatically, you could able to draw some lines or methods. You simply need to specify the access value. That's it. You specify, okay, from where to where the line has to come, from where to where the circle has to come, what is the radius, what is the area. Pass the parameters, it automatically draws the pictures for you. Okay, so let me show you this guy. Save this guy. Let me create Canvas tag HTML. Okay, under this, let me create some div demonstrating HTML5 Canvas tag. Okay, under this, I'm going to create a simple Canvas tag. Now I'm going to give a style for this Canvas, a predefined tag it is. I'll say some width of 600 pixel, some height of 600 pixel, say some border of 2 pixel, solid. Now once I open this guy, this is how the box got added. Now, if you see this box, this is a Canvas box, and you have specified the width and height. You can actually increase the width, you can decrease that with whatever you want to do. Now, as per the HTML5, if at all you have to draw the graphical objects, it should be only done within this Canvas container. You cannot draw the objects out of the Canvas container. It should be only within the Canvas container. You should be able to do the things. Am I clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let us say what are the things you can do. And one more thing is right now HTML5 provides to draw the 2D objects maybe sooner when we, very sooner once we have the latest updated version of HTML5, we could even draw the 3D objects also. So first of all, how do we draw the things here? We need to create a reference through which you can draw the objects. Now let us say paint is there. I want to draw something. Whenever I'm clicking on this pencil, can I say that this pencil is a reference for me? It is through pencil I'm going to draw the things on the picture, isn't it? In the same way, you need to create some reference for this canvas container so that on the top you can create a objects there. So how do you do that? So for that, we need to create some CTX object. I mean, context object. How do you create the context object? Document dot query selector canvas dot get context of 2D. Right now it is supporting 2D. This is how you're going to create a reference object for the canvas tag. Okay, you are creating a reference tag, which is a context object here. Now, anything you want to draw, you will be using CTX draw some rectangle, CTX draw some circle or so and so. So that what do you mean by CTX here? Reference of the canvas tag. Now, within the particular canvas tag, the things will be drawn. Any questions with line number 24? Clear, everyone?
Sir, CTX is predefined or user defined?
No. This var CTX is user defined. We are creating the variable. These guy, what I'm doing, I want to create a reference. Say, I'll say that some pencil. Assume like this is a pencil. Now, this pencil is your reference through which you will be drawing the things on the canvas tag.
Yes,
Am I
got it.
Okay. Now, on the top, I say,
Sir.
if at all I want to draw the objects on the page now. Now, how do you do this here? The very first thing, I have some predefined methods, guys. Okay. And one more thing, you have to assume this guy as a graph. Remember, in your academics, you should have seen the graphs where you need to draw the x-axis, y-axis. Anything you want to draw on the graph paper, you need to put on the x-y axis is so and so, x1 and y1 is so and so, so that the pointers will be joined and you will be seeing a line. Same thing even is going to happen out here. Now I say something like this. There is a predefined method which is called as pencil. Whatever the pencil you have, move the pencil to 0.0, position. X-axis is 0, y-axis is 0. From there, you need to draw a line to x-axis 50 points and y-axis 120 points. Okay, so how do you get this? Now, if you save this guy, come back here, reload the page. Why not happening? Pencil dot line to pencil dot move to. Oh, I haven't given the stroke, right? You need to put on the stroke. Stroke in the sense, fill the line. Now, if it is pencil dot stroke here. So if you ask me, is the pencil is user defined or predefined variable?
User defined.
Okay, just for a reference, I gave that. Now, if you save this, reload the page, see here, a simple line has been drawn from the point what you have specified from 0, 0 to so and so. For example, you have something like this. I have given these many lines. See, from any point to any point, you could able to draw the lines. So instead of pencil, I'll put it as CTX, guys, because I have that predefined here. Okay, come back here and reload the page. Do you see the lines are getting occupied? So whatever you specify. And one more thing, what you see is, this is the first line, this is the second line and the third line. The third line actually have to come out of the container. Why the reason it is not coming? Objects will never ever come out of the canvas container. They only be within the canvas container. They never ever come out of the container, even though you're giving the coordinates outside of this. Okay, you can only draw the pictures, you can only draw the things. Now, if you say that, boss, why don't I draw the line outside of this box? Can I draw here? No. Whatever the predefined methods we have in order to draw the graphical objects, that can only work either in the canvas or on the SVG. That's it. If you try to put the methods within the div tag or span tag or so and so, they never ever work. Okay. In the same way, like this, you just need to know that what are the now if you see these coordinates, you have to identify. I mean, being a developer, you need to know that, okay, if someone says that, okay, here to here, we want a line. Now you need to ask them, okay, boss, what are the coordinates? Okay, so you need to ask about the coordinates. Okay, so from which coordinate to which coordinate you actually wanted the lines or whatever it is. So just to pass the coordinates, you should be able to draw the pictures. Okay.
Sir,
Yes, please.
sir, line to and move to are predefined.
These all are the predefined methods. Once you create a reference for the context object on the top, now when I say that HTML5 is supporting drawing objects in the sense, this is what it is providing some predefined methods using which you could able to draw the graphical objects. Now these methods are predefined. Parameters are user defined. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Next, in the same way, for example, I would like to draw a circle. You see here, this is what I have. I have some predefined properties already. Save this guy. Here for this guy, for line 2 and move to, you are specifying the x-axis and y-axis. Whereas for the circle, a dot arc is the predefined method for which you need to specify what is the x-axis, what is the y-axis, what is the radius you want to go, mat dot, I mean, what is the area you want to go. You simply need to pass the parameters and refresh this guy. You should be able to draw the circles like this. Circle, ellipse, whatever you want. You just simply need to specify the coordinates. Accordingly, it is going to go. Now I say something called as 195 here. Now if you come back and reload the page, the x-axis, y-axis will be changed. In the same way, I would like to change the radius here, say something called as some 60. Now if you reload the page, that is how it is increased. So based on the parameters, values, what you pass. Now if you ask me that who has given the value, as per your requirement. Okay. Okay, Hemant. Sir, instead of this much, can't we just draw in some software and just add image of it, or else there is a real-time example for this? That's a good question. So what Hemant is saying is, boss, why we are going with this? Hemant, it is better you put the question to the public so that everyone can understand this question. Okay. Yeah. So as per his question, what he's saying is, okay, boss, you are doing this much that I want to draw a circle. In order to draw a circle, you are writing this much of coding at the background, and later that is getting added on the page. Instead of this, why don't you go with some predefined software like Photoshop and so and so? If at all you have to draw a circle with some image and all, draw on the Photoshop, create an image out of it. Now you add the image. That is easy. That is what your question is, Hemant?
Yes, sir.
Yes, right? Yeah. Does everyone agree with this question, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, super fine. That's all fine. What if my requirements are dynamic, guys? What if my requirement is dynamic? User is giving an input. I want a circle of 20 by 20. Is it possible lively you go to PowerPoint and do the file and do the changes? What if user says that I want 30 by 30 size? I want a circle of some 60 radius, 20 radius. Based on the user input, if the requirements has to change, can be done?
No.
Hemant, now you got your point where I have why the reason we need to go for this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, people still go to the Photoshop when they know that the image is static. Why the hell I need to go with the programming? I only go with the images. That is what people will go, background images, etc. They only go with the static because they don't change. But when the requirements are changing dynamically, based on that, the object has to be changed. No option here. We need to go with the canvas or so. Okay. Next.
Sir, in line 2.
Yeah, Pravalika, go ahead now.
Sir, in line 2, we are using some move method also. Now, why not in circle?
Okay, even in circle also, here there is something called as begin path. Okay,
Yes.
you know, what do you mean by move to here? For example, line is there. You know, here, this is a pencil. Pencil I have taken. Line 2, so and so. Where is my cursor? Here only. Again, line 2. In the sense, from where I am actually going here. Again, from where I am line here. Say, for example, I need to take my cursor and do have to move somewhere else. Then what I have to do? Move to so and so. From there, you draw a line. So move to in the sense, take your pointer, place it to a different location.
Okay, sir.
Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, in share market, there is a line that fluctuate up and down. Can I use this SVG tag to do this job?
Yes, we can make use of it. If that is based on the dynamic, based on the values, what you get, based on the current value of the share market. Now someone asked you, boss, show me that up and down arrows. Like if the share is market increasing, you need to put it up. When it is down, you need to down. Then yes, in that case, you need to make use of this.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Next, in the same way, for example, you want to draw a rectangle. So this is what I have. I already have some predefined methods. Just to fill style is a background property, which will fill it. Now, if you save it and reload the page, you should be able to draw a rectangle. Rectangle, anyway, you can even draw with your div tag also, but in your canvas, usually you can do this. And there is something called as fill text and stroke text. Okay, if at all you want to write some content on the canvas container. So there are two ways you can do. One is fill text and stroke text. Let me comment the fill text. Let us see what you mean by stroke text. See here, hello world is coming like this. But if you give the fill text here, how the hello world will come? It is filled. Okay, instead of red color, let me, okay, already color is red, right? Let me change the color green. Come back and reload the page. This is how it is. See, this is the difference between the fill text and stroke text. So in the form of bolder, you whatever the way you want, you can simply make use of it. On the top, you can even specify the font size, etc. And one more thing, for these guys, we cannot make use of our own CSS properties like background property, color property. No, there are predefined properties for this. Fill style, fill text like this. Only we can make use of those properties because these are not individual DOM elements. Okay. In the same way, there is something called as linear gradient. Anyway, in your CSS3, we will talk much about the linear gradient, like how do we add multiple colors as a background for a single container. That is what linear gradient is. But in your canvas, even that guy supports. Why it is not drawing here? I have the grid here, grid.add container. Okay. CTX dot create linear gradient. GD dot add color, right? 1 second, guys. Or else let me comment out the remaining things so that we can see this. Okay, 1 second. So this is how we are doing this. CTX get context. Gradient. Oh, I need to fill the style, right? Okay, now I need to fill this guy. I'll take out the same rectangle box. Instead of color, we will put the gradient. Okay, now if you come back and reload the page, you see here multicolors, green and red has got mixed. Anytime you want to add multiple colors as a single background for a single container, then you go with the gradient stuff, linear gradient and radial gradient. As I said, in CSS3 we'll discuss much more. Lot of things are there. From left to top corner, directions you can change, repeating of the gradients you do. Lot of things are there. I'll talk about much in your CSS. But to be clear on this, so these are some of the predefined methods, guys. As I said, very simple, nothing logical. You only need to specify what coordinates need to be passed. Accordingly, the objects will be drawn over here. Any questions here? Okay. Now this is canvas tag. In the same way, we do have SVG tag. Okay, let us save this guy. This is canvas. Let me make this as SVG tags. .html. Okay, so what is SVG tag here? Let me remove this JavaScript code. Only difference between this SVG and canvas is, again I say SVG. This is SVG. And this is SVG. Now, if you run this guy, Open in the browser. This is how we have this guys to SVG. Okay. Now, this is how the SVG container got created. Again, I say that even SVG is also used in order to draw the graphical objects within the container. Then the question what you get is, was both are doing the same? Isn't it? Both SVG is doing the same and Canvas is doing the same. By the reason we have two tags then. Very simple difference, guys. The only difference between the, and one more thing, SVG full form is Scalable Vector Graphics. Scalable Vector Graphics. Now, the reason why we go with the SVG is both intention is same, drawing graphical objects. Only difference is in case of your Canvas tag, predefined JavaScript methods are there to draw the graphical objects. Whereas coming to the SVG, there are predefined HTML tags. Circle is a tag, rectangle is a tag, like this figure is a tag, image is a tag, text is a tag, line is a tag. There are predefined tags. For the tags, you specify the properties, it will automatically draw the graphical objects. That is the very simple difference between these two. Okay. Now I will take out these guys. Say, for example, I want to draw a circle. In your Canvas, what you're doing, arc is the method what we are using. But here, I use simply tags. That's it. Now, if you open this guy, reload this page, see, a circle got added with a border and with a background. And what are the properties I'm using? CX implies x-axis radius, y-axis radius. Sorry, x-axis and y-axis pointers. And R, what is the radius you want to go? 40. What is the stroke? Stroke in the sense border color. Stroke width is border size. Fill is background property. Here we are not using our own CSS default properties. In CSS, we used to have the background image, background color, etc. We don't use those properties. There are dedicated CSS properties which are specific to SVG tags. Am I clear here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Like this, you have all the tags, guys. For example, if at all you have to draw a rectangle, this is what I have. RECT is a predefined tag. Okay, rectangle. What is the x-axis? What is the y-axis? What is the width and what is the height? What is the style? You can use the style property. Now you can give all the properties like this. Now if you reload the page, this is how a rectangle box got created. Simple, no logic. In the same way, I want to go with the ellipsis. Ellipsis in the sense different radius you'll be having, right? X-axis and y, I mean horizontal and vertical radius you have. Now for this guy, I simply put this, save this guy, come back and reload the page. This is how the ellipsis is. Guys, just give me a second. I'll be back. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm back. Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
See my screen, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, one second. Actually, from my laptop, it got disconnected actually.
No, sir. Now disconnected your screen.
Okay. One second, guys. I mean, actually, somehow it got disconnected from my laptop. I'm reconnecting. Guys, if you're not talking, please go in mute. Shit, man. What is this?
You lost most control.
Yeah, one second. I'm actually reconnecting, guys. Somehow I got disconnected from the laptop, but from phone it is working.
Sheikh is post now.
Sorry, somebody saying something. What is that?
Farah Sheikh is post now, sir.
Okay, someone else got changed to four. Okay, Farah Sheikh. Okay, fine. I mean, once I'm back, Farah, you please make me as a co-host. Oh my God, it's not working. Let me restart my laptop, guys. Guys, if you're not talking, please go into mute. If you're not talking, go into mute. For both SVG and Canvas, we have given that. If you remove that border, you never feel what is the actually width and height of it. Just for identity, I given this. But if you say that, no, boss, I don't want to put a border, it's up to you. Got it, Sonali? Yeah. Okay, so this is about the Canvas and, oh, sorry, still we are not done with the SVG, right? So this is the ellipsis, and on the top, there is something called as a line content and text content. So you can simply use those tags and draw the graphical objects. Okay, save this guy, open in the default browser. So now if you reload the page, this is how the things are there. Text you could able to add, lines you could able to add, ellipses, anything, whatnot, anything can be drawn here. Just you need to specify the coordinates again. Now, you may ask me a question. One thing is so clear. If you have to use the JavaScript methods to draw the graphical objects, yes, boss, we go with the Canvas tab. If you want to go with the HTML tags to draw the graphical objects, yes, boss, we go with the SVG. Then what is recommended when? In most of the cases, when, as I said you, based on the dynamic data, you could able to make use of the Canvas tag. When the SVG is recommended, anytime you want to draw some graphs, you would have heard about something called as line graph, bar charts, like flow charts. Anytime you're having those type of charts and all, it is recommended to go with the SVG tags, because hell lot of JavaScript code need to be written otherwise. Okay, but one thing, guys, to be honest with you guys, with my experience, I never got a chance to ever work with this Canvas and SVG, because being a developer, most of the cases you just make use of the predefined look and feels, etc. and all, and most of the applications never ask for drawing the images, etc. For example, you're working with a gaming company, or where the things are being drawn by you dynamically. So at that case, you may got a requirement, but most of the cases not. But still, it is good to have an idea of what actually those things are, because when you come to the interview, they'll ask you what actually the difference between the Canvas and SVG. When do you go with Canvas and when do you go with SVG, etc. Okay. Is everyone so clear?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, nice. The next part, what we have is, one second. The next part, what we have is, there is a concept, something called as drag and drop features. Okay, the new events, actually we can say. Okay, from your HTML5, browser is supporting some new set of event handling. Earlier we have only seen click event, hover event, focus event, key press event, key up event, key down event, click event, right click event, double click event. Hell lot of events are there. But coming to your HTML5, when you drag a line on the page, when you drag a cursor, when you leave a cursor, when you drop a object, so these type of events are also being captured from your HTML5. Again, when I say that HTML5 supports drag and drop features, doesn't mean that you by default it is providing an option of you drag and drop automatically happens. No, it is only saying that I can invoke a method when the drag is happening. Now, when you say some click is going to do, do you say that when a click is going to happen, automatically action happens? No, right? What HTML will do? I will say on click equal to property I have given you. You invoke a method, you add the logic inside this. In the same way, for drag and drop, some events are being there. You need to add the logics. Okay, so let me create a simple example for this. Drag and drop events, HTML. Okay, for this, let me create a very simple container. Say some class equal to container. Under that, I'm going to put some simple image here. Okay. Let me get some image here. Some laptop files. Okay, for this guy, I put an ID, prod underscore one, or I say product underscore one. Okay. On the top, I have this. Okay, let's go back to this. This is how I have a container. I have a very simple requirement that here I have the bottom, I have some products. I will drag this product and I drop the product on the container. I should able to put the product on this. That's it. That is what my simple requirement. You would have seen this guy in most of the online shopping applications, right? You can simply drag the products and drop the products. It automatically gets added into the cart. Now, how do we put those type of stuff? I mean, how do we achieve those type of things here? Okay. Now, if you see, when I am dragging the thing, is it not a event getting fired on drag start? So these type of new things are being supported from your HTML5. So what it is saying was, I'm supporting some new events here. There is something called on drop. Obviously, on the container, we are going to have some on drop events on drop. This is one of the event. There is something called as on drag over. Once the drag is over, this is one of the event. And on the image, we have an event, something called as on drag start. Okay, what need to be fired. Now let us put some methods here. On drop, I say element drop. What is the method? Some event, and that guy comes with the event object. We already know what is the event object, right? Which holds the extra information of the current event being generated. And I say element drag over. Here you say event object. I say element drag start. Another method like this. Okay. Now let's define these methods. Okay, what HTML5 is doing? It is simply giving some predefined attributes using which you can handle the. Now, when I'm putting the methods, does it mean that now if you refresh your page, when I'm dragging and dropping, is it happening? No, not at all. You need to write the piece of code. The logic, you need to write it. The only thing is, now when I say on drag start, if you invoke this method, that method will be fired. That is what HTML is doing here. Okay. Some script tag here where element drag start is an event. Okay, something like this. I say for element drop, where element drop is a simple event. Where drag start is the event, something like that. Okay, now I'm using this predefined attributes on the top, giving the callback methods what need to be fired. Now what need to be done? The very first thing, when the element is getting dragged. Okay, very simple, guys. First of all, let us talk about the concept. What all I wanted. Anyway, if I drag this guy, drop on this guy, what I need to know, if I get to know what is the ID of the element which is getting dragged, now once you drop it, you know the reference of the container on which the element is dropped, then you simply append that guy to this guy, yes or no. Understood the concept? Requirement is, first thing what you need to know is the guy which is being dragged. You should have a reference of that guy, like ID, class, whatever it is. On the top, where you are dropping. Whenever you're dropping, you need to have the reference of the guy on which you have dropped. Now take the guy which is already been dragged, drop onto this guy, append this guy using JavaScript code. Is my job is done or not?
Yes, sir. Yes.
That's it, right?
Yes, sir.
Simple. Now I will put the same guy over here. See the logic here. What I say is on drag start, how do I know which element is being dragged? Under the event object, there is something called as target property. Okay, the element on, the element on which event got fired, which is called event.target dot get attribute of ID. If you give me the ID of this, let us see what is the ID we are receiving. Save this guy, reload the page, inspect this guy, go to the console. Now, if you reload the page, refresh your page. When I'm dragging on this, am I getting the ID of this guy, boss? Dynamically, I'm getting. So what I'm doing here, whatever the event which is get fired on the target element, in the sense, the current element on which the event got fired, from that guy, get an attribute which is called as ID. What is the ID of this guy? Make it as word wrap. See, this is what the ID we have given. If I give something, let's test. Dynamically, we could able to find out what is his ID. Is everyone so clear up to this step?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Everyone, no questions? Okay, fine. Now, what is my next step here? When the drop element is getting dropped here, okay, one thing is, when the drag is over, element drag over. Why I haven't defined this guy? Okay, drag over. I am using a method, something called as event dot prevent default. I will talk about this method, guys. Why the reason we have this event dot prevent offer? I will talk about this, but element on drop is I need to know. Okay, now here again I'll be using this event dot prevent of default. I will tell you what is this line number 31 and 35. But one thing, the place where I'm dropping, do I need to get the reference of that guy also? What is the reference on which element I got? For this guy also, let us put some ID. Say something called as main container. Okay. Now, where I'm dropping here, again, I say event dot target. In the sense, the element on which drop event got fired. What is that guy? Obviously, this guy. For that guy, dot get attribute, again get his ID. Now when I say console.log, save this guy, come back here, reload the page. When I am dragging, I'm getting product 1. When I'm dropping, am I getting it as a main container? Yes. Implies you get to know what is the reference of the element which is getting dragged. What is the reference of the element on which you're dropping? Now on the top, what is the simple logic I need to do now? Now I say where container ID is equal to, can I put something like this? Hash plus event dot ID. Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Exactly. Now, in the same way, I need to take the ID of the image guy also, where, let me make it as a public image here, where image ID is equal to nothing. Now I say whatever the image ID you have, hash plus, why I'm adding the hash? Because it's an ID. Copy this guy, paste this. That's it. I got the image ID also. Now what I need to do, whatever the container you have, can I simply say document dot query selector, this container dot append. What I need to append? This image ID. What is that? Again, document dot query selector, image ID. That's it. Now if you come back here, reload the page. When I'm dragging this guy, dropping this guy, is it is happening?
Yeah.
Yes. So the simple logic what we used is, the guy who is getting dragged, we are taking the reference of that ID. When we are dropping the element, we are taking the reference of the container. Now you're simply appending that guy to this guy. That's it. Now in future, multiple products might come. Doesn't matter. You see here, n number of products. Right now I'm using the same image. Let us say this guy becomes 2, this guy becomes 5. I mean, unique ID has to be given, some 8, etc. Now if you save this guy, come back and reload the page. Any number of products, drag it, drop it, drag it, drop it, drag it, drop it. Anything can be done like this. Okay. As I said you, first thing is HTML5 providing the feature of drag and drop doesn't mean that you drag any image and drop it. It is not directly taking. It is simply invoking the callback methods. Under that, we need to put on our own logic. Any questions in this code, guys? Yeah, first thing. What do you mean by event prevent default? One slide, let me explain this, then I will ask the questions. Let me say I'm commenting this event dot prevent default because openly no logic is there. Just I'm using a method called as event dot prevent default. Now, if you reload the page, I'm dragging the product, dropping this, not happening. Why so, boss? The reason is, if you remove this event dragging, dropping, still when you go to any of the web page, anywhere you have the images, when you drag and drop, the feature by default comes. But whenever you drag it, when you leave it, it will automatically go back to its own default place. That is the default feature. Anytime you drag anything on the page, it will again come back to the place where it is being tagged from. That is the default feature. Now, what I tell to the system, I need to say the method that, boss, you please prevent what you used to do the default. Whatever your default feature is there, you simply skip it out. Why so? I'm adding my own custom logic in order to take the element ID, in order to append it. We are writing our own custom thing. That is the reason we go with event.prevent default. Whatever the default features you are doing it, please skip those things. Am I clear? Understood everyone? What do you mean by event.prevent default?
Please
Yes,
explain
Yes, sir.
once.
Yeah, so complete questions, anything on your drag and drop features here? Okay,
Hello,
based on the, yes, please go ahead.
sir. If I want to drag a particular image and drop it inside a block, means inside a block in a particular position, can I do that?
Particular position, in that case, what you have to do, okay, right now, what is her question is, boss, okay, I take this image, I'm dropping at the right bottom corner. Now you put this guy, it will be, oh, why it is not happening? Or prevent or prevent default, right? Now you drag and drop this guy, it is getting get to this guy. Why so? Append in the sense, I will just add this. If you want to know what I exactly want to put into the exact position, first of all, you need to get the position of that guy. How do you get the position of this guy? On drop, if you console dot log event. Okay, now if you reload the page, refresh and inspect this guy, go to the console. If you see here, when I'm dropping this guy, you know one thing, why this error is coming? Element drag start is not defined. Where I'm using it? Element drag start. Oh, on drag start. On drag start is the method, right? Yeah, come back here and reload the page. Now you drag it. Maximum calls tag size exited. On drag start, range error, maximum calls tag size exited. We are calling only a single method, right? Why the reason? And one more thing, what I don't understand here is on drag start, on drag start. Okay, let us remove this guy. Come back here, reload the page. Still happening.
Event parameter not passing.
Oh, yes. I see event. But still it is happening. But no. One thing what I again don't understand is, for example, if I give drag start 1, I'm changing the method name. When I'm dragging it up, how come this guy is happening? How come the product 1 is getting invoked from line number 45? Strange. Something. You see the line number 45 to get executed. This method is there. Okay, let me make this guy as drag start 1. Now if you reload the page, I drag it and drop it. Now it is working. Okay. Yeah, the problem is we are given the same event name. That is the problem. I say element drag start, some method different. Now if I use this guy, come back here, reload it. Yeah, that is the problem is I've given the same event name as the method name. That's the problem. Fine. Coming back to her question, if you see here, when I'm opening this event object, are you getting this client X and Y objects, ma'am? Yes. I mean, what is the client X and Y objects? If I'm leaving this object here, I leave here. Now, if you see what is the client X and client objects, 514388. Okay. When I put these guys somewhere in the center, am I getting the value as 271 and 190? Yes or no, ma'am? Clear, Sonali?
Yes,
Now, if you want these guys to be added over there, what I need to do? Simply add the CSS properties for that. Make that element as a position absolute. Put the left guy as whatever the client X guy. Put the top guy as client Y guy. Obviously, it will be in the exact position.
Yes, sir.
Got it, ma'am? How do we do this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Next, any other questions, guys? Understood what I mean by drag drop feature? Very simple. I mean, nothing much logic, guys. Only thing is, how do you find out an element? How do you append that element? Based on this, now you can put a simple assignment on the top. Okay, let us say you have some 3 containers here. Container 1, container 2, and container 3. Here, this guy is, say, something called as men's container, women's container, and something called as kids container. At the bottom, create some of the images, products like men's product like this, women's product something like this, kids product, add some list of products. Now I will drag a men product, drop onto the men container. It has to get only added to the men container. I will drag a kids product and drop onto the kids container, only it has to get added to the kids container. But if you drag a women's container, sorry, women's product or the kid product into the men's, it should not get added. Can you guys do this? Simple part is, right now in the example, I shown you how to drag and drop and directly add the elements to the container. But here what you need to do, you even need to check this. Here I'm directly taking a container ID, appending to this. But before adding to the container, you need to check out whether the current product belongs to the current container or not. If it belongs to, add it. If it is not, you should not add it. Okay, take that as an assignment. Any more questions on this today's topics? No question? Okay, yeah, Jitendra, you already said that, right, Jitendra? I already messaged Mr. Ramesh, Jitendra. I mean, Jitendra, like I asked Ramesh, what he's saying is, I mean, it is not the mistake of his side. I mean, I'm busy with some other things, but he said like by tomorrow or day after tomorrow, he's going to do this. Tomorrow, again, remind to me. Actually, I called him in the afternoon, but he was busy with other stuff. I mean, open speaking, guys, I mean, he is the one guy who deals with almost like 2,000 to 3,000 people, students. No calls, it's only WhatsApp. So a lot of people messages coming, but it is my responsibility, Jitin. I'll make sure you have all the details of this batch and all, right? You have the payslip, etc. and all. If he asks, okay, I will first of all talk to him, and I will let you know. Fine, but please remind me if I miss it tomorrow. Also, once again, remind me. I'll do that. Okay. Okay. So fine, guys. Let's pause for today. We'll meet again back on Monday, and Monday we will be talking about other features of your HTML5, and if time permits, I will even start with your CSS3 also. Okay. So have a good night, happy weekend, and bye for today.
Bye.
Good night, sir.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Good night.